Hey, it's 28 millimeter RPG here. Rick, I'm here. I'm back. This is my inception video. Excuse me, of a recording that I made before the session happened. So we're gonna go over this and you know go over some of the interesting things that I thought were going to happen and what did happen. So let's go through this. Let's hit the play button. Um. So today, here we go. It's to focus on their Sunday, January 6th, approximately 12:10. Just to dissuade any kind of shenanigans. Yes, I did record this before everything happened. So 12:11 actually. So I'm just going over some of my prep notes here. See, it's not a whole lot of stuff, but I just wanted to go over this. And the reason why I do a pre uh, game prep with I pre-record this so it comes out later once you've watched the session, once everybody's watched the sessions, once my players have are able to watch the sessions and see what happened and it's concluded. Basically what I want to do is put together my initial prep, so it gives you new GMs out there an idea of what's important to prep and what's not so important to prep. I'm at the age. I'm an old guy, and it's starting to get to that point in my life where um, where you don't want to waste time doing something, and you just want to keep things simple, fast, and all your ideas that you have written down right away, so that you don't have to be all scrambly when it comes down to the session. So what I do is I end up writing all my notes. Sometimes I'll go ahead and use my copier and send my notes directly to the copier, so I have an actual physical copy in front of me, so I don't have to rely on this battery life and all that stuff. So that way I have my notes with me, and then I can change things on the fly just by using good old ink pen and paper. So, but usually I make these notes while I've got breaks at work, or I just have an idea pop into my head and I just want to quickly write stuff down. Then I have my pad ready to write everything down, and away we go. The inspiration for the prep in this one basically comes from this image here. So I thought I brought this image here, and you'll probably see it in the intro kind of video, I guess, for our streams. Sometimes I'll change them up. I'll switch them out. But that was a neat picture. So something that I went with. Maybe on occasion, but it's an interesting looking sky, cityscape, and it makes you wonder. Okay, what is this up above? So the story kind of relates to this image here. So this was made with Midjourney, obviously, and I want, because of the situation with the players, it kind of gives us a new kind of uh, break into something interesting. Because as you may recall from our last session with Shadow and the Stars, it ended with pretty much everybody getting swallowed by this orb, this big giant green glowy orb thing, which looked like it had a multiverse on the other side of it. It was kind of like a mobile gate. Let me smooth out my mustache a bit. Kind of like a mobile gate kind of thing. and I wanted to make something happen that's interesting. So, and I'm not gonna get into the details of what that orb is or the ship, or so. I'm just getting into the details of what the current situation is for the crew members. So I didn't want this to be like, it's not fair to have the group as a total party wipe, basically, but um, because it wasn't intended as that. It's taking them to a another place technically. Alrighty. So this is my idea for the place. So this will be one of the things that they see when they awaken, kind of idea. So they're gonna awake in a. And I got all the notes written down here. They're gonna wake up in kind of like a hospital room. So the first character, I'm probably gonna do them do a quick little blurb with each one of the players. So as far as I know, there's only going to be Josh and Gordo in this first session. So our little blurb ends up being 20 to 30 minutes for the first person. But I talked to them both in the beginning of the session before it started. I said, okay, well, uh, we could start with either one or the other, and or you know, it wasn't determined whether or not it was going to be Gordo's character first off in the hospital bed, or if it was going to be Josh's character in the hospital bed. But we decided because of comfort issues, Gord is the more experienced player out of the two of them, so we went ahead with Gord as the as an initial part of this episode. And Spencer's not able to join us because he's got some motherboard problems. So, and we're waiting for another motherboard to come in so we can go ahead and replace it and get him back into functionality again. So let me get rid of this picture in the corner here. And so I wrote down basically one of them is going to wake up in their hospital room, and a nurse is going to be talking to them, and she's just you know she'll answer questions like how did they get there. So as far as she knows, they were just brought in. They were brought in. This is a mental facility. So, and by the looks of it from the picture, because they're going to see that outside once they kind of, clear the cobwebs out of their heads. I'm not sure. I might go ahead and alter that image to reduce the visibility of that portal above that one skyscraper. Which I did not. I just left it as is. I just basically, you have to understand when I come up with the ideas for the session, my brain works a little weird, so I'll let it relax all the way through the week, and then when it comes down to having the session, it's usually the day before that I come up with these ideas. It just comes into my head. I'm like, okay, let's think about what we could do that's interesting, and come up with some sort of cool ideas, and then boom, suddenly in my head I get this. Oh, okay. Take a look at this picture, and boom, away I go. And I just start writing down stuff. So, and because they're going to be under the influence of some sort of drugs in order to keep them calm and everything, right? Because this, like I say, this is a mental institute. What a good place to be medicating their clients, and and she says they have been brought in by a Mr. Gray. So Mr. Gray is kind of going to be kind of the smoking man kind of guy, which you see possibly in like Half-Life or the what you call X-Files or something like that, right? So we have this government agent guy, pretty obvious.
And I never used it. I mean I suggested it, and but I didn't know whether or not they were gonna spend like maybe a day sussing everything out, or if it was gonna be a couple days. I don't know. I'm just kind of the narrator of events that are happening, and just introducing things as they come along.
And the government agent guy, well, as far as the way I see it, like in the background, um, they discovered these guys in the alleyway of one of their cities, so in one of their nearby towns. So they were brought in because they were these unconscious people, which were the players, were appeared and were lying. You know, they had their equipment and stuff, which they still had on them. So they were stripped of their equipment. The government, because it's this society is kind of our '90s technology, but uh, but there is a how can I put this? But there is an overarching invisible influence over top of the world, so which is a high tech level, high alien tech level. And that's part and parcel with that portal. So as soon as their brains clear up, they'll be able to see the portal a little bit more clearly. Uh, so I'm kind of keeping this in the
So I did a little bit of a twist and a change in it, but I'll explain that in a bit.
background, whether or not I'm going to have two different pictures, one with the faded looking portal above it. If they're like trying to struggle to get up out of their bed and go to the window and look outside, they'll see the faded version first because they're still influenced under the drugs. But then, as soon as they're like more conscious, if they avoid taking their daily dosages, they'll start coming out of this effect, and they'll be like, okay, now I can see straight, and oh, that strange looking portal thing is above that skyscraper. And
So I kind of took a pass on this kind of idea a little bit, just because we wanted the cinematic movie kind of effect. So we didn't want it to drag on. You don't. Sometimes it's good to like present things as matter of factly, because I mean, if you had the time, like we're restricting our game sessions to basically 90 minutes or less. And so in other words, we don't want to have these lengthy things where you have to subject yourself as an observer of our YouTube videos and have to endure a couple of days while things are fading off in their heads and stuff. It's kind of like if you're thinking of it in a book form, you can add all these details, and your readers can gradually read through it page by page, chapter after chapter, and get the gist of what's happening slowly as they uncover the mystery. But in a movie, it's kind of like you have to have the condensed version of this entire book, and and you want to go ahead and make it as entertaining as possible, yet contain all the elements that are observable gradually, instead, well, not gradually, but what would have been gradually kind of just presented instead. Kick out a lot of the guesswork, or roles to observe, that sort of stuff. I don't like using those because if they fail a role, I mean, if they fail a role to observe something, it's kind of stupid because you want the players to oh, see this thing. You don't want them to be just, could they see this thing? Maybe they see this thing. No, you want them to see this thing in order for this thing to be presented properly. If you don't, then they lose out on the on what's happening. They don't get to do the cool stuff because they failed their role. So you don't want that to happen.
It's very evident. If they ask questions about it to like the nurse or doctors or something. So I've got a couple of doctors that I have a nurse, I have a doctor. So then the nurse is Nurse Alice. There's a Mr. Gray, which is the government agent. There's going to be Dr. Cover. And there's also going to be another crazy guy called Jack. And Jack is another insane asylum uh, person.
So this will be interesting because I forget what I said here because this is a week and some later. Let's see what I had ideas for Jack here. Let's go with this.
In this group, like that they'll meet a little bit later. But right now, the only important ones that I really need is Nurse Alice, what she knows, what her motivations are. Mr. Gray, what his motivations are, because he Mr. Gray wants to figure out more stuff about these guys. So having them locked up in this facility for now for observation is his key concern to see where they're from, who they work for, answering all these questions that he has, like where are these guys from. So um and Dr. Cover is just doing what he's got to do because he himself is a government agent and he gets paid by the government to help these clients, and that's all he's there for. So um
as you can see, I've kind of have this idea that the government agents right now know that these characters have like high tech equipment. This is basically tech 11, tech 12 kind of stuff, which is much more fantastical than their tech 8, tech 9 kind of counterparts that you're seeing in the actual city. So,
of course, what they're going to find out is that Dr. Gray and also Nurse Alice, they don't see that portal up there. They're like, what are you talking about? Which kind of convinces them that the players are a little bit in the head, right? Because if they can't see, they look outside and they don't see that. They just see the sky, the skyline as without the portal. So I wrote down some notes of what the life like would be out there. We're talking like 1990s tech, early cell phones. Only expensive ones will be able to take pictures and stuff like that. The cops are going to be a little different. They've got some high biotechnology with them, so they're going to notice the guns attach themselves to their arms, and they'll have like all these ventricles and stuff like that.
I kind of skipped a little bit about this on the police officers, as you know. It's a little bit, they were a little bit more standard tech, except they had this cool weapon that goes ahead and utterly distorts time. It's like it'll just atomize stuff in front of it. It's a totally wicked, awful weapon. It just shouldn't exist. It's like some Tesla ray gun thing that just massively causes irreparable damage to organic beings.
Pipes and things going to different places unknown, into their helmets and stuff like that. So they're
Would have been cool.
different. The police are obviously augmented, and so the people call this place Earth. So if they ask, what planet are we on? Yeah, they'll kind of look at them like, we're on Earth.
So I ended up introducing an element in there offhand, which was bringing up the globe that was pulled out of the closet so that they could help, Adamus kind of get an idea of what's going on. So they brought out this globe, this Ori globe, and uh, this is because this is about not even a day before the actual game. I did end up really adding a few more details to it that I don't explain here. I'm going to see what I say, and then I'm going to obviously add what extras I threw in.
Uh, where are you from? Because these people are not like the planet is self-absorbed. They don't realize that there is other life forms out in the universe still. So they just call their
So
planet Earth.
yeah, so this is the situation: is especially with the police officer at the end in the game who Bailey, who who sees his partner turn into one of these crazy um, looking lobster like crustacean aliens and blast him, with his weapon. And but the whole thing is this is Earth as a non-star faring. Like they have not explored the stars yet. Um, but there's a reason for this, and it's going to have to do with the ocean, which is the orb, and reason why I call it Ojin is because these are the Jinn from the ancient fables of Arabian Nights. So that is what the oval green orb things are known as Jinn. They're the Ojin, and that's I kind of just I was like thinking maybe we should have like instead of just two aspects of this, like two things. We have the Ojin, which brought uh, the characters to this area, and then we have the planet itself, the people of the planet, which is uh, the government and all the people that reside on this version of Earth. And I wanted to have something a little bit extra, but we'll see whether or not I added it already or not here. So
And it's not the real Earth. So it's just Earth, because it's from the point of view. I'm from Earth,
now, now here's yeah.
And
Here's the thing. It wasn't Earth. It's just because at the people of this planet just kind of view their from their past hidden history about Earth. So they naturally just called this place Earth. It's if you've lived on a place, because Earth is technically just a name of a body of matter floating in space. So that could mean anywhere in the galaxy or wherever. It's known as this is our Earth. It's not a technical actual name of the planet. It's just we are on an Earth. So that's the way that they that I kind of like uh, figure this as their point of view. So let's keep on going here.
funny thing about this Earth is there's going to be two moons, and they are locked in orbits opposite of each other. So they'll see like the moon coming across the first day, and then during the night they're going to see another heavenly body, which is kind of similar to size of the moon, but it's going to be more of a reddish gray kind of planetoid. And if they inquire about what the names of these celestial bodies are, the first one's going to be Luna, the moon, and it'll look exactly like the moon. So it looks exactly like our Earth moon. But the other one, they will call it Nibiru. So some kind of, dun dun dun, kind of, and
I know. There's some people didn't know what it meant or anything like that. And once again, because of our 90-minute restriction and entertainment purposes of our stream, it's just faster to go ahead and just pull out this. I just figured pull out this globe with the two orbs on it. I wasn't sure whether or not I was going to have the Nibiru or whatever you want to call it, however you wanted to pronounce it. I wasn't sure whether or not I wanted that to be an actual thing that people saw, kind of like that the glow around the one building, and I was kind of just like, do they see it? Do they not? It was still kind of up in my head. I was going to let the players kind of suggest, speculate, do their theories and stuff, and pick up on what they may have thought. So a lot of times this is a group effort where you go ahead and you're taking in some of the input from the players, and that way you get some ideas what they think is cool, and you implement it in your game somehow. And once again, you implement it with a twist if you're going to use it, because you don't want to have them go, oh yeah, okay, I totally got this. You want to have them, you're like, oh yeah, I kind of got this, but wow, that's weird, because I added something like that just totally went ahead and took the whole concept that they were thinking and turned it on its side for them. So I find that's a good way to present something that they can understand, because they kind of thought about it in a certain kind of way, but at the same time, you don't want to say, yeah, you totally got it. You want to have, yeah, that's kind of what's happening. and it gives you, a game master, a leeway to go into some sort of different aspect of what's happening and evolve it from there. There's a lot of what we're doing is an ad lib. You're doing improvisation a lot, so keep your notes fairly open for that, because it involves creating some really cool stuff with your players, and it involves giving you surprises too, because that you want to have those surprises as a game master in order to help keep your brain, with all these cool concepts coming in, and you can pick and choose from these things that your players are talking about, and it's fun. It makes it more fun for you too, because now you're exercising your brain on how am I going to implement this, but you want it to be a fairly smooth implementation of these ideas. You don't want to be rigid in your game master ideas. You want to be very fluid as well, and you want to get rid of the notion that you want to control everything. You want to control all this stuff. So get rid of that. Just stop trying to control everything, because you'll just end up being frustrated, or the players come to a totally different conclusion than what you're trying to, and you don't want to go ahead and say, no, that wasn't the way it was supposed to be. It's supposed to be this. You want to have some satisfaction for your players, in discovering everything, and you want to have some satisfaction in also discovering things as it goes along, because it's just more fulfillment for everybody on all sides. So let's continue on listening here.
This is where this influence comes from with this portal. So the portal's going to end up going to Nibiru.
Yeah.
So that's
I okay, so I did do a little bit of a change on that. I thought, okay, due to the our time restrictions, I thought it would be a good well, it would be a good way to I guess maybe it could have. Maybe they did go to Nibiru, or Nibiru, or maybe they did. Maybe they did. It wasn't important because of where the game went, and them encountering the Ocean and getting an actual rapport with that entity and understanding. This isn't going to be the last time you are going to see the Ocean. They're in the world now, and it may be a situation where this may not be the last that you see of the crustacean aliens and stuff like that. So I leave everything open to continuations. So later on, when these players are still going on their adventures and everything, they may encounter, say for example, the artificial life forms from the planet Dooku. Maybe they've decided that they're going to explore new strange worlds and discover new things out there. And along the way, they bump into the players once again. They recognize them. Oh, you guys are those people that showed up on our planet long time ago, or they may not even know them at all. And they'll just interact with them as if they were, the players may think, oh, well, maybe these guys have been exploring, but no, this is them in a new ship. The entities, their new ship from Dooku, because they've been freed, of their shackles of being ran by the humans that were there. And maybe they're doing their own thing. I have no idea. I haven't come up with you want to have things that could reappear in, the further adventures in the future. And that's the interesting thing is maybe this the Mr. Gray might figure things out and see that police car, the police hover car or anti-grav car, disappeared, and he may inquire about how that was possible and send something up there to go ahead and also that may disappear in that void as well. So this could lead into other things going on. And what is this world? Like, I could have put in certain things in that world as well that may have led the players to believe that they're in a simulation as well. It is entirely a possibility that this is an entire Ocean simulation, but them emerging out and these possibilities of this simulation coexisting inside like actual traveler reality, like maybe they escape it and they are now existing as actual things in this universe instead of just a simulation. But that would be a cool idea. That's like your simulation becomes reality through through some sort of like numeric kind of possibilities, like something that we haven't even thought about. Like thought, you think something and you can 3D print it. Well, how about if you think something and it actually creates itself? Something like that. It's what does the future hold in technology, like beyond ours, like thousands and thousands of years past our current abilities? So you always want to kind of think in those kinds of concepts in order to really like span out those ideas into probabilities and stuff that you can bring into Traveler. Traveler is a very uh interesting game. Well, along with the mechanics and the structure and the underlying, Traveler universe that you can use, that you have the ability to pull from and create and make it your own. Like all these planets and everything, um, they're only stats, and you can draw all kinds of extra ideas upon those stats. Those stats don't dictate like the situation. Like for example, like Dooku itself, if you look at the stats, it's just basically a highly advanced technology planet with a very low population. And you're kind of looking at it going, well, how does that work? Why is there such a low population? How can we make this interesting? And then, of course, we have the artificials on that planet, which make up the mass majority of like the non-human population. So it's a stat which is not on the stats. So you could have lots of robots. You could have lots of, say, not like maybe primates or something that are slowly evolving, and they're now wielding sticks and stuff, and they're starting to get their way of speaking together, that they can start communicating with actual humans. Because in a Traveler universe, you're only looking at human centric stats on each of the planetary universal profiles. So you can add in what you want. You don't have to stay within the restrictions of what you see in the stats. You can really build upon it, use your imagination on it. And that's what I find interesting about Traveler. Yeah, I mean, I can get into more about this. I know that there's Bo is thinking about running his own science fiction game. So I do have some kind of notes that I'm trying to form out and give him some kind of pointers, because if you haven't been running any of these kind of Traveler games, you don't know what you're in for until you actually get into it. And it's the same thing with just general science fiction in all aspects. You have to think of the scope that you want to start with, and you think about the scope that is possible from there on. So do you want to have everything basically placed in one system, or maybe like Firefly, where it's a system that has multiple suns, and then you're just moving around within the entire one system? Or do you want it to expand out into several other worlds and stuff like that, which I'm doing? These players can travel from one system to another. But the thing is, it's always good to have these choke points all the way through, in order for you as the game master to be able to look upon what they're coming towards, the next system that they're traveling to, and you can figure out what's going to be there, and work that out. You don't want to be running around like trying to get all the details worked out on all these planets, on every part of this sector in space, and work everything out. You don't want to do that, because you're going to be with an overage of stuff that the players don't even encounter, and you're just basically throwing your notes away, because who knows, this campaign of series of sessions can come to an end within any time. your players may decide, oh, we're going to go play something else, or we found a new game master, we're going to play with him for a bit, and then you're kind of like, okay, well, I'm going to try and work out something new in the meantime, and all your notes are kind of just forgotten, and it just ends up wasting a lot of paper or a lot of time. And like I say in this video, you don't want to waste your time, especially when you're starting to get older and older, and every day kind of counts as a thing that you can either use it to teach other people things, or you can use it as your day is wasted. And I don't want to waste my days anymore just doing redundant things that won't show up. So you're seeing here the evolution of how I kind of figured the game session, how my kind of like my cliff notes, and what I did change. So I mean, so that you other game masters don't feel awkward in doing this as well, because you're seeing the results of the sessions being played out, and you're seeing that the players are very satisfied in what happened, enjoyed what they did immensely, and that's the important part, is having a successful game session. A story evolved from what the players did, and I had no control over what the players wanted to do. It was entirely up to them. I gave only suggestions as the NPCs, or I acted as the NPCs doing certain things. I mean, I could have drawn out that in like a whole entire week of the players in the asylum, talking to different people, and then slowly seeing, oh yeah, there's a different moon up there with, but this thing has like big plasma things coming off of it, or I could present it as a matter of factly. Oh look, this globe, model that they stored in the closet, and it has two moons on it. Oh, that's crazy, the Earth is only supposed to have one moon, all these weird things that you can just present at the time when you need it. And yeah, like I say, my sessions, I'm restricting myself to a certain time slot. I don't want observers of my YouTube observers of my games being too, like, you don't want them to be too long that people just won't watch the whole thing, or make it digestible. They can digest it. They can watch it within maybe two watches. Basically, they go through the first part, and then they go off and have their lunch or whatever, and then come back and sit down and watch the rest of it, or watch the rest of it the next day. And they'll go, oh, that's such a cool story of what happened, what occurred. But remember, it's not me creating a story. I create just the things that are happening, and the motives of everything that's going on. And I don't want to spoil too much, because once again, ocean may be a recurring thing. The machinations of Dooku may be a thing that occurs later on. I'm just saying that these are possibilities that you can bring back out, out of that little chest of little treasure things that you can pop out and plunk into your game once again. And players will go, oh, I know these guys, and it makes the game more, dynamic, impressionable, all that stuff with your players, because they've encountered things before. New players will come in, and who have never encountered these things, but you'll have a player that has, and he'll say, oh, gotta watch these guys. They they're the ones that do this thing, or they eat that that weird stuff that we have a hard time trying to digest, or whatever, whatever quirky things that you brought into these worlds and stuff, and interact, and slowly you end up having, throughout all these sessions, basically a Star Trekian kind of thing. We know of the Borg, and we know of the Klingons and these things. They're doing the same thing in this game. We know of the Huron pirates. We know of the Glimmerdrift, Federation. We know of these, Dukuians. We know of these Ocean. As further things go on, they're going to find more fantastical, things to run into, and I've got my work cut out for me on coming up with new ideas and stuff. And once again, it's looking at images, stuff like that, coming up with new ideas from what you find on the internet, because your exposure to different things as a game master, you have to expand them. You got to go start looking for other ideas to kind of hit you in the face like a big pie, and you go ahead and twist it a little bit so that you can make it your own, and come up with some cool ideas. So you don't want your game sessions to stagnate. You want to be able to have a bit of action in one, and then maybe a slowdown in another, because if your players are always like on panic mode all the way through each session, one after the other, it can be draining in a sense. And having just a breather session is exhilarating, perhaps. Them coming back into their actual reality, on the planet that they are currently on. I can't remember the name of it, but the current system that they're in. Just them coming back, and they'll be able to go ahead. Okay, let's they may decide, hey, we're gonna fix the ship, re-equip, maybe purchase some wares from this planet that we can go ahead and trade to other places or something like that, if there's anything worthy of picking up here. You never know. They could go ahead and go on a salvage spree once again, gather more parts. They'll have a whole load of junk stuff that they can probably offload on a different planet, that has, an interested party in all this technical gadgetry and stuff. It's entirely up to you. I don't know what the players are going to do next, but I do know my next session is going to pretty much consist of, okay, the players have fixed the engine and all this stuff, and they're ready to go from there. I don't want to bore them with the details of, okay, well, you got to fix your ship, so let's do some rolls. I'm not going to go ahead and do that to them. I'm just going to have the ship is fixed as far as they know. Let's continue on. Do we want to go ahead and journey to this location, that location? It's entirely up to them. Or something could happen in the meantime. Another event happens on that star system, and it goes into a whole different ball of weirdness. It's entirely up to you. Anyways, 50 minutes. This is enough for you guys to go ahead and listen to, and I'm not going to subject any you guys into any more of this unless you guys really want me to. I mean, but I'd rather go into other videos and possibly explain things that you may have questions on. Feel free to pose those questions to me in the comments if you want. But all in all you people out there, hey, if you like what you see, you like learning new things, I like learning new things, and there's always something new. You never know. Just join it. Do it. Hit the subscribe. Just do it.